Hi, it's Alexander. Today on the Briseman Crypto Literacy course level 1, we are going to talk about what is a bridge, what is an RPC, what is decentralized finance or DeFi. And today I'm going to be using examples based on BSC, so the Binance Smart Chain, and BRC20, so the BitGert blockchain. The BitGert blockchain is one that uses proof of authority consensus. As we had talked about earlier, the consensus mechanism will affect the rapidity, the speed of the blockchain, and also the gas fees. So the BitGert chain is very interesting to me because it has basically zero cost gas fees, and also it is very fast in that it can do 100,000 transactions per second. So these are two qualities I think that are inherently needed for decentralized finance to be effective, because one of the downfalls of cryptocurrencies so far has been very much related to the gas fees. So now, if you have a cryptocurrency like BitGert that started on the Binance Smart Chain, they then created their own blockchain. So you have the BRC20 blockchain. So the tokens are available on both chains. Now, in order to be able to transact from one chain to the other, you have, and many blockchains have this, it will be called a blockchain bridge. So it's a connection that allows the transfer of tokens from one chain to the other. Both chains have different protocol, rules, governance models, but the bridge provides a compatible way to interoperate securely on both sides. There are many different designs for bridges, but they can generally be divided into two camps: more centralized bridges that rely on trust or federation, and so-called trustless bridges that are more decentralized. Centralized bridges rely on some type of central authority and system to operate, meaning that users are required to place trust in a mediator to use a given app or service. Simply put, on a bridge like BitGert's, for every locked token on the Binance Smart Chain, one is created on the BRC20 chain, and whenever the token from BRC20 is given back, the BSC token is unlocked. So this provides fixed maximum supply and price stability in between the two chains. Now, when you are setting up, as we looked earlier on the previous course about wallets, when we set up the BitGert Smart Chain on the wallet, we had to choose an RPC. What is an RPC? It's a remote procedure call. So it's a set of protocols and interfaces that the client interacts with the blockchain. So the user can query the blockchain related information such as a block number, node connections, and so on, and send the transaction request through the RPC interface. So it's really a window into the blockchain, and it's by where you're going to be able to see your token amounts, the value, so on and so forth. So sometimes if you encounter a problem having connection issues, so on and so forth, you want to go ahead and look at the RPC, because sometimes they'll have updates, sometimes they'll be down, and most chains will offer you a broad range of RPCs. So in the case of BitGert, there are 4 currently. You have the main ones, and you also have one that was added by Ice Cream Swap. So it's just, you can choose any one. Some will find that the Ice Cream Swap one is more stable. Some will find that one is more stable than the other. It's just, it has to do with your connection. And so you can just choose whichever one. When you go look at on chainlist.org, there'll be a green dot or a red dot. Just pick one that has a green dot, and you'll be okay to be able to go ahead and do transactions on the chain. Now, to talk about DeFi, this is going to be, I'm trying to keep these shorter, so we're not going to get too in depth. We're going to post an educational pamphlet that was made that gets into it a little bit deeper. Of course, nothing here is financial advice, so you really have to do your due diligence before you make any decisions for yourself. Do consider all the literature that we are putting up. Do some research on your own. Make sure that whatever investments that you do make are investments that are right for you. But you know, we want to give you at least a good global picture of what decentralized finance can be, because decentralized finance, so DeFi, is really a new vision of banking and financial services that is based on peer-to-peer payments through the blockchain technology. So through the blockchain, you allow trustless banking, right? So you're sidestepping traditional financial middlemen like banks and brokers. Okay, so what does it mean for the investor? Well, DeFi promises to allow investors to become the bank by giving them opportunities to lend money peer-to-peer, to earn higher yields than those available in a traditional bank account, because you're actually the one providing for the liquidity, right? So you're part of the system as an active actor, all right? So investors can also send money quickly anywhere around the world. You can access your funds via digital wallets like we saw without paying traditional banking fees. So the goal of DeFi is to provide many of the financial services that customers and businesses currently enjoy, like loans, interest on deposits, payments, but it uses decentralized technology to do so. So in effect, DeFi changes the industry, not just by changing the what, but by changing the how you do things. DeFi creates an infrastructure to deliver similar financial products and services to what you find traditionally, but once again, completely peer-to-peer, and you're the bank. So to do so, you're going to use the blockchain technologies. You're going to use NFTs, smart contracts, a bunch of other tools. The blockchain is you know, it's a ledger technology, and all transactions are permanent and are tracked. So you can always follow what you have done, and whenever you know, person A sends money to person B, it's there, that it's tracked forever. So you can actually really get the same accountability that you would from a bank, but without relying on all the infrastructure. You actually become the infrastructure. So you can actually, you know, what do you do with crypto? Well, part of what you can do is provide your crypto assets as liquidity. You can give loans. You can do what we called yield farming. So you're going to deposit 2 tokens to cover for the transactions that are being done on that token, and for providing that liquidity, you're going to get part of the fees that are incurred. So you can also, and this is something that is happening a lot on the Bitgert chain, and I do think that this is the next step for decentralized finance, is that you can directly invest in startup projects using cryptocurrencies. So a small or medium corporation can have access to capital, and you guys get investment opportunities. So we're going to look at some projects that have launched on the Brise chain. I do think that this is really the more interesting aspect of where decentralized finance is going. So of course, those, you know, you guys are going to be looking into getting into that. You have to be aware that you have to proceed carefully, right? Because yield farming is very fun. It can pay a lot, but you have to be mindful that if, say, one of the tokens and the pairs that you are providing price crashes, well, that's going to have an impact. So Yes, it is an environment where you have a lot more freedom. You can invest in companies without going through the whole stock market thing. Companies can get financing without going to the bank, without having, to put up to the stock market. You can raise millions of dollars. But the counterpart to that is that there are a lot of scams out there, and it really is imperative that you do your own research whenever you're going to be doing an investment. You should always do your own research in any investment you do, right? It's not because you invest in a company that's on the stock market that it means that you're going to make money with your investment. Companies fail all the time. But in cryptocurrencies, you have to also be mindful that because it is decentralized, you don't have the same form of authority that is there, like in the markets, to regulate things. So whenever you open up you have access to higher yields and rewards, you will usually incur higher risk, and that's a rule of nature. And it's the same thing that happens in decentralized finance. So the beauty of it, though, when you have a project like Bitgert, which we talk about, Bitgert actually has the startup studio. And in the startup studio, and by the way, Bitgert, whenever you're looking for help, you can always go to their website. They usually have the live chat that's available. So if they're not there, you can come back on and off, but they're usually there to help you, and they're very insightful people. So that's something that's very different about them. And also something that's different is for the BRC20 blockchain, they have a startup studio. So the startup studio is, of course, there's no guarantee that the projects are always going to work and that nothing's never going to fail. But they do have the developer of Bitgert. They have a team that look at the viability of a project, if it's a good idea, basically, and they also do KYC. They verify who the owner is. They ask for them to disclose their personal information. They might not disclose it publicly for a bunch of different reasons, but at least you know that it's been done to the studio. So like I was saying, in decentralized finance, yes, you have all the traditional products like staking, like liquidity farming, things like that, and we'll get into that a little bit later. But just to finish on what it can be in something different, when we look at Brise Paradise, is a project that is in the Maldives, and these guys are actually building a hotel, and the hotel is actually getting done. This is their website, but when you do go on Telegram, you actually they have a live feed for seeing the hotel being built. You can buy into the project. It's basically kind of like a timeshare, I would say. Depending on the number of tokens that you hold, you get a certain number of days for free stays, and then you can book extra and pay for it. So it's these guys got to raise close to $1 million to start a project that they probably wouldn't have had access to were it not for decentralized finance. So this is something that I find very encouraging, because it's basically a little bit like crowdfunding, but you get something out of it more than just a one-off thing. You can actually invest inside a company. These guys also used NFTs to get people to have actual shares in the company. So it's a very innovative way to approach financing a project and sidestepping the traditional, banking and stock markets and stuff like that can be very burdensome for smaller startups. So this is one of the projects that I very much like to see coming up in decentralized finance. Another project that I like very much that was brought up through the Bitgert studio is Tokyo Coin, and Tokyo Coin is basically going to be a project that is going to develop a whole bunch of different things that have to do with decentralized finance. So they're going to be into the metaverse. They are going to, they're doing NFTs, but in a different way. They're NFTs, once a little bit like Bryce Paradise, a little bit like Vaultcoin that we will see later. The NFTs actually give you access to revenue from the company. So in their case, it's 17%, 17.9%, I believe, off the top of my head there, that they are sharing with people who are going to have the Catgirl NFT. And also that NFT will enable you to be able to ask for a visa and go travel in Japan. It opens up doors for being able to do business in Japan. They're going to have an actual marketplace where you're going to be able to buy, specialized Japanese products and have them shipped to you. So they're going to have a casino, esports, because they're going to be doing games. There's going to be an anime production side to this. So it's an amazing company that's being built, and you have access to it no matter where you are around the world. You can buy some tokens, have a stake into what it is, get an NFT, and participate in that environment. So it's not something that you can do with traditional finance. You can't do this at the stock market. You can't do this with the bank. And I think that this is where decentralized finance is very different. Same things with Vault. Vault is actually bringing something very different to the NFT world by giving the NFTs extra utilities, or actually using the full potential of what NFTs are. So and we'll get into NFTs a little bit later. We're probably going to have the developer from Vaultcoin come and talk with us about NFTs, because I do think that he's very innovative in his approach. And this is the other thing about decentralized finance. You can actually have access to the developers. Bitgert at its all-time high had a market cap of $750 million. And still, the developer, when you go on Telegram, on the Telegram channel, very often will come in, and you can have it's called AMAs, so Ask Me Anything, and he'll just take questions from people that are in the channel. So sometimes people that haven't even invested get to ask questions, and it's the same thing for pretty much all these cryptocurrencies. So we'll get into Telegram in the next capsule that we're doing, where we're going to actually for this first part of the course, we are going to, you guys have all the information now to be able to get a wallet on MetaMask or on Brise or CoinHub or Sphinx, and so I want you guys to get a wallet, and I want you guys to open up a new email or whatnot. I'm going to give you guys in the next session the information to go on Telegram and on our website, and I want you guys to register that wallet address, and we'll send you 1 million Brise on the BRC20 chain. And the next step is going to be we're going to look at decentralized exchanges, centralized exchanges, and how we can actually trade that up. And we'll get you guys to ultimately get the bronze NFT from Launchcore, and we'll also provide liquidity on Ice Cream Swap. We're going to do a bunch of fun things. So this is it for this one. Really quick capsule about decentralized finance. Like I said, none of this is financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. Do look up the additional information we are putting up on the Briseman website, and of course do your own research. Always make sure that what you do is good for you in terms of an investment, fits with what you want, and never invest anything that you can't lose, because even the best projects, this is a very volatile market. One day you can have $60,000. The next day, that $60,000 can be $3,000, and if you just hold on, 8 months later, you can have $1 million. So it's the nature of the beast for now, but it's very fun to be into. When you know what you're doing, you can mitigate the risks and have some very profitable investments in crypto. So cheers. I want you guys to have a great day, and I want you guys to have some great investments.